Okay, so as you may know, I'm a coach for creatives, and in the last few months, I have noticed a real trend with people getting really stuck in comparing themselves. So, do you ever do this that you find some other creative professional in your industry and you get obsessed by them? Like you look at how many followers they have, you look at what they're charging, you look at their website, and you just always fall short because let's face it, there's always going to be someone in the industry who's further along than you are, and you perceive them as being better than. And it might be true. Let's be honest, we've all got to learn and grow as artists. But the point is, this comparison trap malarkey is rife. It's the one thing I've seen more than ever come up time and time again with my creative clients. And it's not at all good. And I'll tell you why I don't think it's good, for many reasons. The first reason is it's not good for our mental health. And it's easier than ever to fall into that because we're all at home, we're all working for ourselves, we're not in our normal circles, like being with human beings who are just like more 3D, more like alive. We see people's nuances when we meet them in person. When we only get exposure to people on their glossy websites or their Instagram feeds, it's very, very easy to have this illusion that other people are like that all the time, and it's very, very easy to get a very sort of warped way of seeing how other people are doing. And to be fair, they're probably doing that to us as well. So the cycle goes on. So it's really bad for our mental health, but actually, more importantly, it's really bad for our art expression. If you are putting energy into obsessing with what other people are doing out there, what you're not doing is expressing your own ideas. You're not putting enough energy into internalizing and reflecting on what you have to offer as a creative person. And for me, that's the danger. If we all get into this comparison trap, then the world shrinks because we're all looking at what everybody else is doing. We're all not listening to our own voice. We're not expressing ourselves as truthfully as we could. And creativity becomes diminished. And it all becomes a bit marketing-y, actually, and glossy. And actually, for me, the most engaging and awesome creativity is often really raw and warped and not perfect. And I'm sure that you have had that experience as well, of like listening to someone's heartfelt voice or reading something that's really come from someone's passion and soul and rawness. So I think it's a conundrum for the industry at large. And I think as individual creatives, we have to learn to get out of this for the health of the creative industries, because I feel that we need more quirky voices. We need more deep expression of truth in the world. And that's what I want more than anything. I think people need it desperately. People want to feel less alone. And you can only feel less alone and more heartfelt if we're able to express ourselves with that level of truth. So these are two ideas that I came up with. They came up in client work, and I thought they'd be useful for you. So the first idea is about switching your mindset. So instead of getting into comparison mode, which eats our energy and makes us feel less than, instead choose to be inspired and to learn about ourselves through those artists that we admire. So, which is a really subtle distinction. So comparing ourselves feels like they're better than, and I'm not as good as, and we're not energized. We don't feel more expressed by that. We feel worse, but fascinated by, what do I love about them? What can I learn from them? And how can I find my own truth in it? So I'll give you a personal example. So I love Lady Gaga's voice. Like, for me, the woman is unbelievable. When I saw that film, what was it called? The one where she's the rising star. I can't remember the name of the film, for God's sake. Anyway, in that film, I had tingles. I felt so inspired by the way she performs as a singer. Like, she's way more talented and experienced as a singer than I am. and choosing to, look at her and compare ourselves to me. I'm never going to want to get on stage ever again if I try and be as good as the Gaga. But what I do find really helps is that when I hear her sing, what I'm admiring is her freedom. And if I try and emulate her sound, like I'll sound a slightly shit version of Lady Gaga. And nobody's going to want to nobody's going to feel inspired because that's a poor imitation. However, what I admire is her freedom to really break through with her voice, like the bravery in her voice. Like for me, she really pushes her heart out when she's singing. And so when I do that, I find more nuance in my own voice, but it's my voice, it's not Gaga's voice, you see? So there's a really interesting distinction there. So I get inspired by her to go further. The second thing I want to suggest is choose to see how you're different. So you might want to look at the market, you might want to look at other people out there and see what they're up to, because that is useful. We do as creatives need to see what other people are doing. But I want you to look out there and choose to think, how are you niche and different? So another example of myself is I looked at all the other creative coaches out there and I went through a phase of thinking, oh my God, they're better than me. Oh my God, jealous. And then I thought, no, hold on a minute. I was seeing people who had particular talents. And I actually learned to realize that my talent is I host things. I'm a fabulous host. And it's kind of why I ended up choosing to do a membership site rather than just be somebody who sort of writes programs or just as one-to-one, because I love creating party atmosphere, creative learning communities. That's where my strength is. So that gave me a lot of confidence to see how I was different. So the question is, when you're looking at other people in your industry, how can you focus on what makes you alive, you different to the people in your industry that do something similar? Because when you honor your own skills and talents and put that out there, then we start to see a much more interesting array of unique creative talent. And oh my God, we need it. So that's all from me today. If you are liking what you've seen and you'd like to get in touch with me, I work with people one-to-one. I've also got a fantastic membership community where we all really work at clarifying what we're trying to do each week and get more productive and get our work out there. Do send me an email to Nicky@nickymoran.co.uk and we can have a conversation. Lots of love. See you soon. Bye.